the Chase Thomas Podcast, for people who have nothing but time to kill.
You're on Igor. It was a rough night for Igor on Saturday.
Yeah, I loved your comparison you made in the notes, and it's one that my brother, I think, had said the other day, and I completely agree. It's just their games aren't necessarily the same, but from a production standpoint, it just feels like he's Olivier. You just don't know what you're going to... He's capable of going for 20 on any given night, and it's not going to surprise you if he scores 4 points. So I think my panic meter, as far as like what I'd hoped for him of being a guy that could consistently score, every time out in SEC play, scoring about 10 points, and then is also capable every 2 or 3 games to go for 15 or 20 points. I think panic meter there is pretty high. It just doesn't seem like that's going to happen. But at the same time, I don't think it's like he's just going to completely disappear and be a nothing for this team offensively. I just think he's going to be a player that proves to be pretty frustrating this season with some of his inconsistencies on that end of the court.
Do you think Chaz Lanier is trending up?
No. I think if anything, I'm more concerned about him playing on the road, playing in big games, big environments.
What is it, though? What are you saying that on the road is worse about what he's going through right now?
I don't know if I could pinpoint it necessarily road versus home. Maybe it's some freedom of movement stuff. Maybe it's teams getting away with more. But I say that, I don't think watching these games at Tennessee, Mississippi State's grabbing them off screens the other night, and they're not calling it. I think what worries me about him is there just doesn't seem to be a sense of urgency when he plays with. Whatever it was, second or third possession of the game, he's got an open dunk, and he just goes up like he's playing in the A-Sun so nonchalantly. Like, all right, this is an easy dunk, and he gets swatted from behind. Like, he's not athletic enough and does not have enough burst offensively, or at least burst at the rim, I should say, to be doing anything casually on the offensive end of the court. He's a phenomenal shooter, but he's got to play with urgency to try to get open and try to get looks. And I think he's lacking that some. He was lacking that last night. I love the shot he took to take the lead. The confidence in that and how deep he took it there with, I think that was about maybe right out at under 4 timeout. After that incredible Felix block on Broom, and since he got out in transition and got that one.
He had a great pull-up 3, too. A deep pull-up 3 in transition. That was just nothing but net.
I think the 2 threes he hit were both basically at the same spot on the left elbow. One just a little bit deeper than the other. But yeah, I would say, again, I'm like, both the transfers, I'm hitting the panic button in the sense of like what I thought their ceiling could be when we entered SEC play, of Chaz's floor being 15 a night and him being a guy that was going to, flirt with averaging 20 points in SEC game. Like SEC play, I just don't really feel like that's going to be the case. And obviously I outlined it with Igor a minute ago.
Yeah. But it's kind of what Barnes talks about, which is this is why you want to have the number 1 defense in basketball, because it's going to keep you in every game. Like we can talk about our offensive concerns with Igor, like him just being the 2025 Olivier for Tennessee. We can talk about Chaz not being what we had hoped in SEC play, but if Tennessee's going to defend like they did against the number 1 offense in college basketball on Saturday night, they're going to be in every game. Like, they can win any game. So it just raises the floor so much. It's frustrating when you can't buy a bucket for nearly the entirety of the first half. But guess what? Auburn couldn't either. And that was because of what you were doing by and large defensively to Auburn. So I don't know. I just think it's going to be a slog the rest of the way. I think Tennessee is going to be dragging teams in the muck, and I think they're going to shoot better at home. Like, I think you're going to still have some good to great Igor games at home, shooting wise and rebounds and all that. I think Chaz is going to have some more high volume, like 6 for 12 from deep, 6 for 11 from deep at home. I think he's still going to have several more of those. Might be Tuesday night.
Agree.
But you're just going to have to deal with, like, there's going to be some other ones where it's like, why is Chaz taking 2 shots at the end of the first half on the road at Kentucky? What are we doing? Why is Chaz not doing this? Because it doesn't seem like that's something that can get fixed in the middle of conference play. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but it just doesn't seem like he is. It's not fair to compare him to Dalton Connect, but even Zakai. Zakai plays with a sense of urgency all the time. Like Sakai Ziegler is playing like it's the final possession of every basketball game. Every time he touches the ball, every time they have the ball. Like Jemai too. Jemai has a sense of urgency. Jemai plays hard. Felix Akpara. I think we don't talk about him as the other transfer, but I think Felix has been your most consistent transfer starter of the three in conference play. I think Felix has been the best of the three, right?
Yeah, I mean, definitely most consistent.
Yeah.
I mean, I think he's been behind Sakai the most consistent rotational guy in SEC play. And I completely agree with all of that. A couple points I will say. Sakai played his 58th SEC game of his career on Saturday night. Chaz played 6.
Yeah.
So there's an element. I mean, this is a guy that's been through it and a guy that's all brand new to. I think, and Rick Barnes said it, you said post game, you just said it, like these offensive issues, offensive struggles, bad offensive stretches, those are normal in college basketball.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think at times some Tennessee fans, and I think this is probably the case with the vast majority of every fan base outside of maybe 6 or 7, college basketball is not college football, so people don't watch just a ton of college basketball outside of their team. Offensive droughts are very normal, but there's a middle ground of where Tennessee needs. They've been bad offensively in SEC play. When you look at the 6 games, like there are droughts, and that happens, and you're not going to be perfect. And overall in the season, they've still been pretty solid offensively. Only 4 spots in efficiency worse than they were last year. But in these 6 SEC games, I think that's the number they're at now. It's 7 now, isn't it? Actually, they're 4-3. Those 7 games as a whole, the offense has been bad, and it needs to be better. So I think there's a middle ground there that you have to find. To me, or just when you're talking about it, you have to find, because Tennessee does need to be better offensively, but some of it's just going to happen either way. And like you said, the defense raises the floor significantly.
What do you think the odds are that they go 3-0 and sweep these home games?
Nicely done, nephew. The Chase Thomas Podcast. Hell yeah.